Hi, guys, it's me, yours truly, Beverly Sherrill Johnson, lifestyle health coach and consultant, registered nurse for over 33 years, known as the Uncommon Flexitarian, and I am the creator of Eat What. Eat What is my weekly program that gives you resourceful information and education as to the many USDA and FDA food safety and health concerns. Now, I just don't wish to alarm you, but I also wish to give you solutions, concrete solutions to fuel your immunity, to fuel overall health. You can look good, feel good, and have a more positive outlook on life. Welcome. Welcome to another edition of Eat What. Now, if you are a member of Eat What, just like to remind you that we can always invite others to our group so they can learn, grow, and share our fabulous group. And we want to get information out to others so that they can also be healthy and live happier lives. Okay. So remember, if you've ever missed an episode of Eat What, you never have to be concerned because as a member of our private Facebook group, you can go to the members area and click on the media tab, every video that we've ever done since the beginning. Or if you've missed an article, wanted to share an article with someone, then yes, the articles are there underneath the files tab. You never have to worry about missing an episode of Eat What or any of the information that is given. Please remember to share the information so that all others can be just as informed as you are. All right. All righty then. All right. All right. Well, we're getting right into our topic today. This is the beginning of Women's History Month. Women's History Month. And we definitely want to celebrate women all during the month of March. Now, during this month, sing on the quote that was given by Dr. Aggrey years and years and years, several hundred years ago, at least 200 years ago. He said, if you educate a woman, you educate a nation. And that's only the partial quote. That's the back end of his entire quote. But his emphasis was, and I'm just paraphrasing, is that when you educate a man, you educate someone. You educate an individual. But women, in turn, take their education and they spread it to their children, to everyone who lives and works around them. Women have been the carriers of information and have been spreading information on how to we can ourselves since the beginning of time. Women have never taken a back seat unless forced to take a back seat, but we have always held the seed of greatness within us. And I just love it when we celebrate women. I really, really do. Now, remember, March the 8th, March the 8th is the official International Women's Day, but you never have to wait until an official day to celebrate any woman in your life, whether it be a mother, a girlfriend, a wife, a sister, a daughter, whomever is an influential woman in your life, encourage her, say thank you, and most definitely, definitely get her connected with healthy practices that can fuel her immunity and her health so she can look good, feel good, and have a more positive outlook on life. Well, let's get right down into our topic today. And we're going to talk about several diseases during the month of March that pertain or emphasize problems that women have. The first one we're going to discuss this week is the topic of Alzheimer's and dementia. Alzheimer's and dementia. All right. Now, I'm sure you all have heard of Alzheimer's and dementia. And a lot of times there's a lot of confusing thinking one is one or the other. Uh, they're both one, I was trying to say. And they are not both one and the same. Dementia describes many, many problems in memory loss. Alzheimer's is a specific type of memory loss, all right, that includes dementia. that includes the properties of dementia. However, however, it is not they're not one and the same, and you cannot wisely interchange both terminologies. You must get a diagnosis, and we're going to discuss a little bit about that right here. All right. Now, women and Alzheimer's. There are more than 10 million women in the United States that live with Alzheimer's, according to the research I have done, and or either they are living with Alzheimer's or they're caring for someone with Alzheimer's, and that's even more of an impact if you are a woman who is a caregiver of someone who has a memory loss, either dementia or Alzheimer's. It is a significant impact upon the women, especially. Now, some quick facts about women and Alzheimer's. In the United States alone, more than 10 million women are either living with Alzheimer's or caring for someone who does have it, as I just stated. Almost 2/3 of all Americans are living that are living with Alzheimer's are women. Yes, Alzheimer's affects women more than men. Almost 2/3 of Americans living with Alzheimer's are women, and that is very, very significant. Very significant. Women in their 60s are more likely and are more than twice as likely, I should say, more than twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's disease over the rest of their lives as they are to develop breast cancer. So this is very, very significant. A woman in their 60s are more than twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's than they are breast cancer. And you're dealing with the brain here. Alzheimer's is dealing with the brain. So that's extremely significant. And more than 60% of Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers are women. More than 60% of Alzheimer's and dementia caregivers are women. And more specifically, according to the research, over 1/3 of dementia caregivers are daughters. Do you see the impact already just in the home? How this can shift a paradigm in the home if you have not had or have not known anyone or have not taken care of someone who's been affected by dementia or Alzheimer's, then you have no idea how much of that really impacts the home. You're talking about taking someone perhaps out of the workforce. Maybe you're taking a woman out of the workforce, all right? Or if she was preparing to go into the workforce, well, now she's taking care of someone at home. Well, there are differences along culture lines too. Some cultures believe when you have a person who has an illness, and there is that conflict between, do I continue to work, do I bring services in, what do I do. A lot of times, in some cultures, not every culture, some cultures, there is placement into a facility that handles those types of issues, Alzheimer's, dementia. There is nothing wrong with that. There is no shame in that. You have to adjust as your family and your culture dictates that you should care for someone in that condition. Now, there are others. There are other cultures that would not even hear of that, not placing their family and a family member into a facility, but they all gathered in, or it was the responsibility of one person to do the caregiving, whether they had support, whether they had support or not. It depends upon your culture. It depends upon your beliefs, and of course, what you are able to, whatever decision you make, the focus and the attention has to be on the individual to get the best care, that they can receive. Bringing services in through Medicare and Medicaid, or other insurance services are definitely key. And you have to make sure that there is an emphasis on well-being, on diet, on everything, medications even sometimes are introduced depending upon the method and the modality, the route that you wish to take in managing this condition. But just to let you know, when you're seeking a woman taking care of someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's, usually, that just affects the home base so much. It affects the family paradigm so much. And if you have other responsibility inside or outside the home, everything shifts so that individual can receive the best care. So it's just something that you have to be concerned with, and you have to consider all aspects and not to allow your emotions either way to carry you, but get the facts, Women, getting back to the research, women take on caregiving tasks than their male counterparts. This is seen worldwide over. That we take on more caregiving tasks, and we care for people with more cognitive, functional, and or behavioral problems. This is all in the caregiving spectrum, caregiving spectrum. And nearly 19% of women caregivers had to quit work. I just spoke about that. They had to quit work, either to become a caregiver or because their caregiving duties became too burdensome. Now, this is it, like I just discussed, this is something that has to be thoroughly discussed throughout the family. It depends upon your beliefs, your cultures, everything that is you, that makes you you. There's no shame in either decision as long as the person that you are caring for is being properly cared for. All right. And one thing I do want to emphasize, there are respite services when the going gets rough and tough. If you don't have other people, for those who are caring, especially for those caring for those who have Alzheimer's or dementia in their home space, if you do not have anyone who will step in and be a friend or watch that individual while you take some needed time off to clear your head, to get back to yourself, because it takes a lot, it can take away from your self-care, then you need to find a respite services that is outside of the home, that can connect with you to give you that time so that you can get away and refresh yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically. That is very, very key. Very, very key. One thing that is often seen in the healthcare area is that the caregiver will deplete themselves spiritually, mentally, and physically, not being able to care for themselves or the individual. And the individual for whom the care was sought will continue on to the next person, on to the next caregiver, while that caregiver gave their all, declined and perhaps even passed away in some cases, was no longer able to care for themselves because of so much that was going on. So do not fall into that emotional trap of guilt, condemnation, or anything like that. Reach for services. Reach for services. They are available. They are plentiful. You can always go online for the Alzheimer's organizations or dementia organizations. Get in touch. Seriously, get in touch with your medical doctor of osteopathy, nurse practitioner, your herbalist, all those who are concerned with your health. Even though this is not about the individual, this is about the individual. It's about you. It is about you touch with your healthcare team and let them know the new responsibilities that you've taken on. That has a direct effect on your health. So by doing so, they can give you contact with supportive services, respite services, and the like. All right. Now, women are at risk for developing Alzheimer's, that more so than men. And there's a lot of research that's going on about that. Why is that so? Is it DNA? Why is it something that is it due to stress? Is it due to a lot of a lot of other questions that are going on? So just know that there is research that's ongoing about why are women more affected with Alzheimer's than men. All right, there could be biological reasons. Um, it could be the fact, just the simple fact that women on average live longer than men. So the longer you live, the more we're able to study you and see what's going on. So it could be something as simple as that, as simple as that. But just know that there is research that is ongoing to determine what socioeconomic factors, what geographical factors, what dietary factors, if there's DNA, what all the things that can help us target the causes and working towards our ways toward prevention of Alzheimer's. All right. Now we've already talked about women staying in the home to take care of someone who has a has Alzheimer's or dementia, and how that can affect the home financially. That is a huge undertaking, and if you don't have support, it is it can become nearly unbearable. It can really become unbearable. And if you're thinking about younger daughters and mothers, and then falling along the line that women have Alzheimer's more so than men. We're talking about mothers and daughters. You could, easily, a mother could have been a wage earner. Now she's gone out of the workforce, and now perhaps the daughter is out of the workforce as well because she's taking care of her mother. There's a lot to consider. There's really a lot to consider, but there's also a lot of help out there. So just know that all is not lost. All is not lost, and there is just so much more that has to be done to for study. All right. So going on about dementia and Alzheimer's, like I said, dementia describes a lot of memory loss scenarios, and Alzheimer's is specific about a specific cause, okay? A specific cause and effect, something that they identified specifically, or Dr. Alzheimer did, discovered specifically. All right. So there are there are many types of dementia that are out there. And one of the common factors that you will find in all dementias is that there is memory loss. And this is where a lot of people all of a sudden get, but they automatically make assumptions. If you don't remember something, then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I might have dementia, or I might have Alzheimer's. That is not true. It's not true. This it could be very good reason why you don't remember little things, simple things. You could be overtired, could be overworked, it could be stress, it could be low glucose. Okay, it could be cholesterol's out of balance. It could be any number of reasons, why you're being forgetful. But it's not one item that is clued in as a diagnosis. It's a preponderance of the evidence gathered over time that allows doctors to qualify symptoms as being dementia related, or Alzheimer's specifically. All right. All right. So just wanted to, I always like to be very specific. I always like to be very specific about that. Now, warning signs there are warning signs of Alzheimer's disease. There are 10 early signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, and I will let you guys know about that right now. All right, now again, we're talking about a slow decline in memory, very slow decline in memory. All right, a decline in memory that maybe it's not picked up at first, but over time, due to the preponderance of the evidence of the events that you start connecting, well, maybe something is wrong. You go to the doctor, you get checked out, and this is the diagnosis. All righty. So one cause, one one of the early signs of Alzheimer's, again, is a memory loss. It's something that is disrupting your daily life, and you just cannot do those things that you were able to do before. If you were able to pick up your keys and you knew which key went to what lock, now you're picking up the same set of keys, and then you're trying to remember, what am I supposed to do with this? That could be, that's a memory loss, and it could be a sign of dementia and or Alzheimer's. So, just an example. So many things to be grateful for if you're able to pick up your keys and know which key goes to which lock, etc. Things, so many things to be grateful for. All right, age related. Remember, as we grow older, as human beings, as we grow older, our cells age. Our cells age. Therefore, as they are dying off, and as they are dying off, this also creates an effect in our brain. All right, as we get older, that's why there's so much emphasis on diet and exercise and eating things that will keep your body healthy, youthful, and fighting off those age related factors. It's so very important. It's just not about, I want a salad. I hear that so much. I'm tired of eating fruits and vegetables. I want to eat this. I want to eat that. Well, do what you like. But as I always caution clients, what is your strategy to be here? Your strategy to be here has to be key. It has to be intentional. It has to be, going in a direction that will get you to the end result that you desire. Not that I desire. I desire for everyone to live, live and prosper and be in great, fantastic spiritual health, spiritual, mental, and physical health. Okay, even as their emotions are prospering. I mean, I'm telling you, I would love to have that, but that's not everyone's goal. That's not everyone's goal. And whatever you're doing when it comes to your diet and your exercise and that are healthy to and for your body, that's your intention toward being here. So you really got to examine yourself. And I know I say this every week, but you really must examine yourself, examine your actions, examine your thoughts, examine what you're doing to be here. What is your strategy for staying here? That is your emphasis. It has to be intentional. All right. Now, if we already talked about memory loss that disrupts daily life, memory loss that disrupts daily life. You cannot do those activities of daily living that you once were able to do. You cannot do that. You can all of a sudden you're picking up the keys. You don't know what key goes to what lock. It's more than just walking. You don't know why you walked into the room. It's very, very specific. Things. You're standing in front. You're standing in front of your stove, and you don't. You turn it on. You turn it on, but you don't know what to do next. Or you need to eat, but you don't know to go to the refrigerator to go process to go get food. These are the things that I'm talking about. Things that are very, very specific, very, very specific. I know of one person wanted to drink water. They knew they had to go to the sink. They had a filtration system, in their sinks. They went to the sink. They did not know to get a glass and turn the water on so that they could get a glass of water. They knew that they were thirsty. They knew they had to go. They would go to the sink, but they did not know what to do next. These are the things that the memory loss that disrupts everyday life. And you also may have challenges. You may have challenges with planning or solving problems. And this sort of goes along with the activities of daily living, activities of daily life, and other things. All right. Challenges. The ability to follow a plan or work with numbers, the research is saying. Or you might have a favorite recipe. In my own family, my one of my great aunts on my mother's side, we knew was going on, she made the best. She always made the best rolls, all the best rolls. They would just melt in your mouth. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's not go there. All right, but they were just wonderful. They were just wonderful. And one day she came to her sister, who was my grandmother, and she said, she made an expression that she did not know how to make the rolls, and she was going to learn from my grandmother. Well, my great aunt is much older than my grandmother, and she taught my grandmother. So we knew something was wrong there, did not know what was going on. We later found out. Okay. And it was right along these lines of dementia and Alzheimer's. So, things like that, things that you used to do. The Rose recipe is so very, very familiar. She taught so many, and then one day she didn't know how to do it at all. So yeah. All righty. Maybe you're making errors when it comes to paying bills, or when you're doing your charitable giving and things such as that. Maybe you think that you don't have any money or not enough money, and you're calling people saying, "Oh, I don't have any money. I don't have any money." No one has touched your money. Or maybe you have written, maybe you think that you can't take care of the household bills, and there's plenty of money there to do so, but you're feeling, your thinking is saying that there is not enough money. So things that, all right, your the ability to watch a television program, for those who may be watching television, but the ability to watch a television program, to be able to enjoy the basic things in life that you used to enjoy, no longer are available to you. All right. Trouble understanding anything that's visible or in spatial relationships. You don't know how close or how far you are to each other. Have a lot of problem with the vision, visual images, pictures that should be familiar to you. Things such as that is another early sign of Alzheimer's. Okay. And a lot of times it could be, and there, see, and this is another point. If you have been diagnosed with, or you start noticing that your vision is lower, and you're not getting regular checkups on your eyes, or even if when you do, they're telling you about, looks like you're developing a cataract. Take action. Take action so that this does not become a stumbling block later on in your health. Take action. Do as much as you can. Do as much as you can and take action to remove those things that will be a hindrance to you later on in life. All right. Don't ignore it. They don't go away. Cataracts continue to grow, and it will impede your vision. New problems with words is number 6 on our list. New problems with words, speaking or writing. You cannot remember a word or a term to describe something. You may not remember a name of someone who you knew, or you may not even remember their face. Who is this person in my home? I've heard that so many times from so many family members. They are really, really frightened of family members, maybe even a spouse who they've lived with for more than 10 years or 50 years. It really is disturbing. It's emotionally it's emotionally just hurtful to everybody in the family. This is why we really need to get on top of this. Women especially, look at the signs, tell the stories, stop hiding against stop hiding behind the veil of, we're going to keep this in the house. No, 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 we got to talk about these things, especially amongst our daughters and other women in the family, but also amongst our sons too. You start noticing things. Teach people, teach family members, teach friends, teach colleagues, get connected with your medical community so that you recognize signs, and not that everything that looks suspicious will be dementia or Alzheimer's, but that you're being very, very vigilant. You're being watchful. And along with the routine of, again, your strategy for being here, you can avoid the common pitfalls that could be that could be easily ignored if you're not aware of what you're looking for. Now, sometimes persons with their early signs of Alzheimer's and dementia, they have new problems with words. New problems with words. Now, when someone is speaking and they're stuttering, or maybe they trip over a word, it does not always mean it's dementia or Alzheimer's. It could be anything else that's going on in the brain. It could be anything else that's going on in the brain too. So you just want to get connected, get connected, get connected. Now, a lot of times when you're in, they will draw a clock and tell you to draw 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or usually the face of a clock, so that the individual who's being evaluated, they can sort of determine where they are, where they are along the spectrum of, is this dementia, Alzheimer's, or one of the dementias or Alzheimer's. All right. Having trouble with vocabulary, though, however, trouble with vocabulary is an early sign. It's an early sign. All right. And a lot of times things will be misnamed. Let me just mention that. A lot of times things will be misnamed. Back to the clock or the watch, they won't say watch. Maybe they'll say clock or clock face or something else, or maybe they have forgotten someone's name and they'll go through a list of 50 names. 50 names. Your name is Susan, or your name is Susan, or your name is Carol, the name is Robert, but they'll go through 50 names before they can think of your name. And maybe they're even watching to see what you're going to respond to. And you don't know necessarily that they're referring to you. But again, this could be an early sign. We already talked about misplacing things and being able to retrace steps. That's another sign. Things not being able to retrace your steps is another sign, is another early sign. Again, not individually, but we're going along with all of the other evidence. Yes, this could be a dementia or Alzheimer's. Using poor judgment. Now, this is when things really get critical. Using poor judgment. If I asked the individual who's being evaluated, you are in a burning building, what would you do? Well, if you're not able to think clearly, if you've had memory loss, you would not necessarily remember to leave a burning building or leave so that you're not in danger. You wouldn't necessarily remember that. Poor judgment is a very critical sign. And this is so important, because the person who is being affected by the memory loss is letting you know, really letting you know, I am a possible danger to myself, and let alone others. All right. Because poor judgment doesn't just affect the individual, it affects those around you. So you really, really have to be careful. Listen, look at the clues, especially women, since we are affected by Alzheimer's more. Not to ignore the men. Men do receive diagnoses of Alzheimer's and dementia as well, but it's just more so in women, and more along that line of caregivers are women. So we really have to pay attention. Something else that is very, very key, and it's a sign that is so most often missed, especially with those who are not social butterflies: a withdrawal from work or social activities. If someone, see, and this is where it really, really gets difficult sometimes on the clinician side for them to evaluate, because if the person was not someone who was engaging with others and with social activities, or they were just basically to themselves anyway, then what did they really withdraw from? All right, sort of difficult. But if you had someone who was a social butterfly and was always out calling friends, engaging in many practices of social activity, social engagement, whether it was church or school, going for outings, going for lunches, traveling, anything that was out there that they used to enjoy doing, then all of a sudden or very gradually they withdrew from everything, and there's no reasonable explanation why. It's not because of finances, it's not because they've lost interest. They just, though they wanted to change interest, that they just withdrew from everything, and maybe they can't even explain why. That could be a early sign of Alzheimer's, dementia. Lead that person, encourage them strongly to get evaluated. All right, just let them get evaluated, please. Withdrawal from work is something else that is really, especially if the person who's being diagnosed or is being evaluated, I should say, with dementia, if that individual is a breadwinner in the family, or a person who is supportive financially in the family, and they are withdrawing from work, from that source of income, that is impactful for the persons that they were caring for, whether it was just for themselves or their pets, or or other family members. That is a real sign that even employers, if you have employees, and those of you who are work associates or work friends, if you start noticing things like that, you might want to speak with the individual and ask them, are they okay? Are they okay? And just let them know what you've been noticing. Maybe it's a conversation that will help them go to the doctor, get in touch with their medical community, doctor of osteopathy, nurse practitioner, medical doctor, herbalist, all those who are involved with their health, so they can get an evaluation to see if there's really something going on. And again, particularly women. All right. And changes in mood and personality. Now, it may not be the anger or the hostility, it might be lying all the time, or the unreasonable fears that they did not have before. Just this things that you notice, mood and personality changes. That rounds out number 10. That rounds out number 10 on our list of signs to watch for. This is something that everyone can see, everyone can notice, and it can happen in a variety of ways. It might be a mood change that is really, really gregarious. I mean, I've seen that too, although that's odd, is but I've seen that too, and then all of a sudden, then the shutdown. I've seen a lot of crying. I've seen a lot of crying. A lot of when I was working in the hospital, a lot of people would be crying. They would express crying and depression and withdrawal personality. There's a lot of personality changes. There were a lot of just unnatural fears, fear of everything, fear of the dark, and then fear of the light. Fear of the shadows, and then fear that there weren't any. It was a lot can go on. Get connected, or have that family member or that individual get connected with their medical community. This is a possible sign, and when, like I said, not it by itself, but as a preponderance of the evidence, yes, something is going on and something needs to be addressed. All righty. All right. Poor judgment, and just to go over this really, really quick again, poor judgment and decision making that could be a sign of Alzheimer's and dementia. However, when it's a typical age-related change, making a bad decision once in a while, does not necessarily mean Alzheimer's and or dementia. A sign of Alzheimer's and dementia could be the ability, or you once had the ability to handle a budget, but now you cannot handle the budget. All right. That could be a sign of Alzheimer's or dementia. An age-related concern, according to the research, could be just missing a monthly payment. Again, everything does not have to be the big diagnosis. It could be just something that is just missed. All right. Another sign of Alzheimer's or dementia, losing track of the date of the season. They don't losing track of the date. Now, of course, everyone now and then, particularly if you're going from December to January, you might write the wrong year or the wrong date. But like I said, a preponderance of the evidence, preponderance of the evidence, you're losing track. Is it spring? Is it summer? Is it winter? What goes on during these months? Losing track of a season. That could be a sign of Alzheimer's and or dementia. Forgetting what day it is and remembering it later, having the recall ability is age related, our research says, is age related. Having difficulty with a conversation, remembering you can't remember the words, you can't remember the names, you can't remember what the typical names of like I said, we use the example of a clock or a light or maybe even a microwave or a stove. These typical names you can no longer remember could be a sign of Alzheimer's and dementia, according to our research. An age related be sometimes forgetting a word to use. Do you see? I just don't want anyone to say just because they forgot one thing that they automatically, oh, you must be coming down with, either Alzheimer's or dementia. That is my point here of belaboring this. That one thing is not necessarily the big thing. Like I said, all you have to do is get a preponderance of the evidence from a qualified medical doctor, okay, doctor of osteopathy, nurse practitioner, herbalist, all those who are on your health team. They, with the proper diagnosis, you definitely can know the signs and be aware of what's going on with your health or the health of someone else. Now, there's always help available with your healthcare team. There's always help available. And I don't want to close this out without mentioning about the dietary and exercise things that you can do to help prevent signs of memory loss, to help prevent memory loss in general. Okay, avoiding head trauma, making sure that you're being hydrated, you're drinking enough water, of course, eating more fruits and vegetables. Fresh fruits and vegetables are keeping those cells, our cells in our body, healthy, staying away from illicit drugs and alcohol and all of those things that tear our body down, that tears our cells apart. These are things that will help prevent memory loss, dementia, and Alzheimer's. Another thing, exercising, getting involved in life, not just sitting on the wayside. You might enjoy your quiet time, but getting involved in life, doing some social activities definitely can help, when you are to help you engage in life and help your cells rejuvenate. Really, it's so very important. Fresh air, exercise, eating right, fresh fruits and vegetables, less on the oils and fat, more so on the freshness and getting the vitamins and the minerals, everything that your body needs. Some of the diets that have been connected to really helping out, of course, your diets that are emphasizing the fruits and vegetables, your vegan, vegetarianism, of course, those diets. But if you like a little bit of meat, and there's a lot of people who do, we're open to all. But the more of the fruits and vegetables, like the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet has been widely discussed as being very, very helpful. But when you look at it, of course, it's fish, fruits, vegetables. Everything is brightly colored. It's not cooked to pieces. You're getting a lot of the nutrients that the food offers. That this is the emphasis, according to research, that we should be following in order to in order to have better mental health and avoid the effects of dementia, memory loss, especially women, men too, but especially women, because it has such a negative effect in our homes, particularly with women. And we keep things secret. We keep things secret. These are things that need to be discussed. The stories that we are not telling, that are common in our family, are those stories that are really passing down traumas and passing down information. You're not passing down information that could help further down the line or even the very next generation. So we should get involved with the education so that we can be leaders first in our own lives, and then in our homes, and then affecting everyone around us. I know we've gone way over today, but I just wanted to emphasize Alzheimer's and dementia. Alzheimer's and dementia. I know we've gone way over today, but I thank you for your continued attention here, but just learning about how dementia and Alzheimer's affects us directly, right where we work, everyday life. We're seeing it, we're not saying it. And when we do educate a woman, and we educate men too, when we educate a woman, we are taking this information and we're getting others involved so change can come. So that's all I have for you today, guys. Nail on the head about Alzheimer's and dementia. I will see you next week, same time, on another edition of Eat What, where we will talk about another disease, another health concern of women. And our program will continue to be for the month Educate a Woman, Educate a Nation. Thanks so much for your attention. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.